Today I'll share how our lemongrass began, what it looks like when it thrives in Los Angeles County, and the simple care that keeps it happy in pots or in the ground. I'll also show you how we propagate and harvest it, and how we use it for tea, soup stock, baths, and a light hydrosol, with a few notes on pests, seasonality, and that calming lemony scent. Welcome to With the Garden. Here in Los Angeles, in a cozy yard, I'm learning and sharing as I go. I hope you'll grow along with me. Let's begin. Lemongrass, or Cymbopogon citratus, is a clumping perennial grass grown around the world for its citrusy fragrance and kitchen magic, and our own story with it begins the least dramatic way possible. A friend handed us a couple of stems with a little bit of root attached on a bright spring day many years ago. We put them in a container, watered them, and then, honestly, sometimes forgot about them. 2 weeks later, small new leaves emerged like nothing happened, and eventually those modest stems turned into a beautiful, fragrant, almost fountain-like bunch. That was the beginning of our friendship with lemongrass, not a grand gardening decision, just a quiet gift that kept saying yes. Since then, we have moved lemongrass around like a trusted piece of furniture. We have planted it in pots, in the ground, and then back into pots again when we needed to reorganize space. It handles the transitions with surprising grace. It looks best in full sun, where it grows tall and full, but it also lives quietly in partial shade when it has to, staying sturdy until we need it. In our garden, it has been nearly pest and disease-free so far, which is not something I say lightly. Let me describe what it looks like when it is happy. Lemongrass grows in a dense clump, sending up many stems from the base. The leaves are long, narrow, and arching, a bluish-green ribbon with parallel veins like a classic grass, and the edges can be sharp enough to remind you to harvest with respect. When you bruise a leaf or slice a stalk, the scent rises immediately, bright lemon, but greener and warmer than lemon peel. In Los Angeles County, the life cycle is simple and satisfying. In spring and summer, lemongrass pushes strong new growth and expands outward, sometimes faster than you expect if it is in the ground. In the cooler months, it slows down. It is frost tender, so in a cold snap, the outer leaves can look tired or browned, but the plant usually holds at the base and rebounds when warmth returns, especially if you trim it and let light reach the center. In cultivation, it rarely flowers, and in a home garden, you should not expect fruit. Technically, grasses can produce a grain-like seed, but culinary lemongrass is typically propagated by division rather than seed, and most of us only ever meet it as leaves and stalks. And then there is the way we use it, which is where lemongrass becomes more than a plant and starts acting like a whole pantry shelf. We use fresh or dried leaves for tea, especially on days when we want something soothing but not heavy. We boil the stalks into soup stock for cooking, the way many Southeast Asian cuisines use it to build fragrance into the base of a dish. We also use all parts of it for baths in summer or foot soaks on winter days. There is something quietly comforting about steeping or boiling a handful of leaves, pouring the fragrant water into a basin, and letting warmth and scent do their slow work. And then there is our slightly extra habit. We make a simple hydrosol from it and keep it in misters or spray bottles, sometimes just for an easy spray on the face to enjoy that clean, welcoming scent. It feels like bottling a small moment of calm. If you want the practical care checklist, here is what has worked for us. Give lemongrass sun if you can, because it rewards light with fullness. Water deeply while it is establishing, then ease into a rhythm that lets the top layer dry a bit between waterings. It tolerates drought better once it has a strong root system. but it looks more graceful and lush with consistent moisture. Use well-drained soil. In pots, that matters even more, because soggy soil can lead to root rot and a sad, collapsing center. If your plant starts looking tired, even though you are watering, check drainage first, not fertilizer. Lemongrass is not impressed by overfeeding. It is impressed by good light, decent soil, and not being drowned. Propagation is easy. When a clump gets big, we cut the leaves down to the lower part of the stems, dig up a section with a bit of root, and replant it in another pot or spot in the ground. Then you watch the math happen. 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 3, and soon you have many if you let them. We have given divisions to friends, the same way our friends started our patch in the first place. Lemongrass also carries a global story that makes it feel even richer in the garden. It is native to South India and Sri Lanka, and it has traveled widely through tropical and subtropical regions, becoming a common culinary and aromatic plant far from its origins. Its very name points to what it does best. It turns sunlight and water into fragrance. In Chinese, you will often see it
called 柠檬草 or 柠檬香茅,
and the naming itself hints at a larger family of aromatic grasses. Nutrition-wise, lemongrass is not a vegetable you eat by the bowlful, because the leaves are fibrous and usually used as an infusion or flavoring. Its value is less about calories and more about plant chemistry. The aromatic compounds that make food taste brighter and make a cup of tea feel refreshing. Researchers have measured antioxidant activity and phenolic content in lemongrass preparations like infusions, which helps explain why it has a long reputation as a comforting, functional drink, even if we should stay realistic about what a cup of tea can and cannot do. Commercially, lemongrass is also a workhorse. It is cultivated for essential oil used in food and non-food sectors, including fragrances and other products where citral-rich aroma matters. If pests ever do show up, they usually arrive when the plant is stressed, too dry, too crowded, or stuck indoors with still air. Spider mites and aphids can happen. The fix is rarely dramatic. Rinse the leaves, thin the clump for airflow, keep the plant evenly watered, and use an insecticidal soap only if you truly need it. Most of the time, better growing conditions solve the problem before any spray does. So that is lemongrass in our garden. Versatile, drought-tolerant, quietly beautiful, and surprisingly generous. It turns neglect into survival, and survival into fragrance. It reminds me that some of the best garden companions are not the most delicate or rare, but the ones that keep showing up, ready to be useful, ready to be shared. Do you grow lemongrass? And if you do, what do you use it for most? Tea, cooking, baths, or something unexpected? And have you ever tried rooting a grocery store stalk just to see if your kitchen scraps want to become a plant? Thank you for watching. If this was helpful or inspiring, please give it a like, share, subscribe, and tell me what you're growing in the comments. See you next time in the garden.